One of the key pillars of Islam. It reminds us about the sacrifices. It also reminds us of the key message from the Creator that there is a wisdom in what the Creator wants us to do. Ultimately, it benefits us as human beings. So, the picture behind me, if you look at it, this is the same place where Prophet Muhammad gave his last sermon. This is a very historic site for Muslims. This is where he stood and gave the final message to the entire mankind. Do any one of you remember what were the key messages from the last class? What was the key message from Prophet Muhammad's last sermon?
Universal Declaration of Human Rights, rights of women, forbidding, I can't say that word, USURY.
Usury.
Observance of the 5 pillars of Islam, establishing trust and justice, a timeless message of equality, justice, and compassion.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was spot on. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So he made it very clear, no Arab. During those days, Arab had this this thing called, Arab and non-Arab. Arabs are better than non-Arabs, and well, that unfortunately is something we see across multiple cultures, multiple nationalities, multiple, right? So he made it very clear that everybody is same. The laws apply equally to everybody, irrespective of your color, your origin, whatever. And he spoke about women's rights. During when Prophet Muhammad was born in Makkah, people would bury their daughters. And then he spoke about prohibiting usury. What is usury? Interest.
Exploitation with high interest rates, for example.
Yes. So the whole banking system we look at, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The whole banking system. That's something I can go over in more detail, but real quick, the whole interest thing in the whole banking system. So what it really does is it makes rich people much richer, poor people more poor, correct? So he said, if interest is prevalent in society, the society will not prosper where the wealth is not equally distributed. So that was the whole concept. And all the messages from his last sermon applies today, and it will apply until end of time. And this message was for the entire mankind. Let's move on to next. Okay. So we spoke about the belief system. We spoke about practicing Islam. Now we'll talk about real quick. It's 11:12. Shannon, I have 8 more minutes, correct? Or
Yes.
Or 5.
Yes, I mean, preferably 5, but if
I'll
you need
try to
8,
wrap it up
that's
in
okay.
5.
That's okay.
Thank you. So, how many of you have visited mosque in Israel? How many of you have ever seen a mosque in pictures or in movies or anything? What do you guys think about a mosque?
Beautiful.
Beautiful? Okay, what else?
Massive, the architecture.
Very architecturally heavy, yes?
I think that they're serene, like the actual atmosphere is like very calm.
Yes. Yes. All right. So thank you. I think most of you have some understanding, which is very good. So mosque, again, there is no, the first mosque was in Medina. That is called Prophet's Mosque. That mosque was a very simple structure. It had no architecture. It was a very simple structure. But the purpose of mosque was beyond prayers. The first thing was to pray in congregation, everyone praying together. But the key reason for a mosque was it was a huge community center. People would come there, right? People will talk about their problems. People will look for solutions. Every mosque, you will see two things in common, no matter how big, small, whatever it is. One is the mihrab area. The second thing is the member area. Behind me, if you see mihrab area, this is where the imam, the priest, would lead the prayers. The priest will always lead the prayer in direction of Kaaba. So, what it is telling us in the back of my mind is a clear direction. That is what the message is. One direction. And remember, on left of mihrab is where the sermons are given. It's about guidance. These are the two key things that is seen in every single mosque or masjid, which is very commonly called referenced among Muslims. Yes. Okay, almost to the end. Concept of family, right? Family and family concept has a huge significance in Islam. Children are called amana. So we can't abandon the children. They are an amana to you from God. They're not your possessions. They have to be treated the way they need to be treated. They need to be raised the way they need to be raised. Marriage is considered very sacred. A man has a responsibility on his wife. A woman has a responsibility on his husband. And it's very clear. And it's more about, definitely about romance, but mostly about how you can become a better person. Marriage, the whole concept of marriage is about how you can make yourself a much better person in partnership with your spouse. A better Muslim, a better this, better that, whatever better we call it. How we can become much better. Parents are very significant in one's life. Islam says the father has the key to heaven, and mothers, the heaven is below mother's feet. So all these are examples to illustrate, to make us understand that significance of family. And then it says, none of your rights is overlapping on anybody else. In the sense that, like for a human body, for that reason, right? The hair is so beautiful, correct? But if I have the same hair in my nose, what happens? I look super ugly. You can't even see my face. So everyone has their own place, right? Everyone has their own place. If my hair comes and says, hey, I'm your daughter. I should be here. Why are we keeping something else here? You see what I mean? I would say, so that is how it is. Islam, when it comes to relationship, it has some very clear set boundaries so that things don't overlap and everybody gets his and her due. That's right. And then we did talk about the neighbors, so there is a responsibility for neighbors as well. And there are many narrations that says that if your neighbor slept without food, you can become a sinner as well. You have to be very cognizant about your neighbors. So that is one example that talks volumes, correct? And that beauty of daily life. Again, I'm telling everything from an Islamic perspective. There are Muslims, right? And if we follow, so just like in any other faith, there are people who understand faith differently, who follow faith differently. Correct. So I don't want to go into those definitions. The final thing is daily beauty life in Muslims, how we deal with people. And there's a very huge responsibility of a Muslim of how you are dealing with people. With honesty, with integrity. You're not hurting them. You are trying to be extremely polite. Right? So these are very common things, and this is what builds a character overall. And where is the reference? Where does the reference goes back to? It goes back to the character of Prophet Muhammad, how he used to lead his life. It's been clearly documented to an extent of the most minimal things. So, and then that is how Muslims are encouraged to lead their life externally and internally as well. Okay, I don't think I have time for this. For some reason, when I was creating these slides, I had a feeling that there will be plenty of time, but I think this is even more positive. I was able to talk to you guys. You guys were able to talk to me, and I really thank you all for your engagement overall, and thank you so much.